Hi, this is Alessio Rastani, a leading trader. As you probably know, the World Cup has started, and I'm sure that you, like me, are looking forward to watching a beautiful game. Now, I've got some good news for you, because if you like football or sports, and you like trading the markets, whether it's stock markets or Bitcoin or cryptos, gold or forex, then that's great, because I'm going to show you today a fantastic strategy, and a very simple strategy, which you can apply to betting on the sports games. And by the way, this is a very simple strategy, which we also apply to the financial markets, again, whether it's Bitcoin, cryptos, or indeed stocks or forex. So guys, stay tuned, because I'm going to show you this simple strategy in this video in just a few moments. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the team I'll be supporting, which I always support every World Cup, is England. Here's a photo of me in the last World Cup knocking back a few pints at the pub. And by the way, guys, let me know in the comment section what team you'll be supporting. And as you can see here on the Ladbrokes website, this is the bookies website for the World Cup games. These are some of the games that are coming up. But also on Friday, there'll be a few games. One particular game I'm looking forward to watching, by the way, is Morocco versus Iran. I'll tell you why in just a few moments. And obviously Portugal versus Spain is a good one. But the team I'm really going to be supporting 100% this year is, of course, England. And they'll be playing against Tunisia in just a few days. And I really hope our boys can do it this year and get us into hopefully the finals or semifinals. All right, guys, now before I show you the strategy, let me first of all mention some important points first. The first important rule is that we'll be playing and betting on the games in play. In other words, while the game is live. So it is highly unlikely I'll be placing any bets before the game starts. And I'll explain to you why in just a few moments. So what you see here on this bookie site, and again, I'm using the Ladbrokes website here. If you look on the right-hand side, what you'll see are the bookies' winning odds. In other words, their profit ratio, or what we call the risk return for playing in the game. And just in case for any of you who may not be familiar with sports betting or what these numbers here mean, let me just quickly explain this. And even if you know what they mean, stay with me, because I'm going to explain some important points. You see, guys, first of all, as you can see here, these are the winning odds. This one here is the winning odd for Tunisia. That's the game that's going to be playing against England. And I certainly hope them the best. Don't get me wrong here. I do wish every team the best. But of course, I'll be supporting England here. And England's winning odds is over here, as shown to you on this section over here. And this middle section here is a draw. So this one here, again, just to recap, this here is the England winnings, this is for the Tunisia winnings, and this is here for the draw. In other words, what we have is 1 out of 3 outcomes here. Either it's England, either it's Tunisia, or it's a draw. Now, notice that the bookies' odds, the winning odds for Tunisia, or I prefer to call it the profit ratio or the risk return, is 8-1. Now, in case you're not familiar with what that means, and I'm sure some of you already know what it means, but for those of you who are new to this kind of sports betting, 8-1 simply means this, that if you risk 1, you're going to make 8. In other words, for every dollar or every pound we risk, we're going to make 8 times that amount. Okay? So if I risk 10 pounds, I'll be making 80 pounds, plus my original bet on that game, if Tunisia wins. On the other hand, look at England's winning odds, which is 2-5. In other words, if I risk 5 or $5, I'm going to make 2. Now, as I'm sure you probably will agree with me, that's a terrible risk return. There is no way on earth I'm going to risk $5 to make almost half that amount. Risking $5 to make 2 doesn't make any economic or financial sense. Now, you're probably thinking, does that mean we have to bet on Tunisia to win, to have the best winning odds? No. Probably one of the worst rookie mistakes people make is that they look at the winning odds here, the profit ratios, and they bet on the one that has the highest risk return. No, that is completely wrong. That is not how we're going to do it, and that's a mistake. We always want to bet on the team that has the higher probability of winning. And of course, the team you probably want to support in any case. And I support England, so I'll be betting on England. So the question you're probably wondering is, well, if the winning odds, the profit ratio or the risk return for England is so terrible right now, you know, it's an inverse risk return, we're going to risk more to make less, then how we're going to do it? So let's talk about that right now. You see, that is one of the key reasons why we bet in play. Because during the game, when the game is live, those winning odds, those profit ratios will change. And of course, I'll come to that in just a few moments. Let me start with rule number 1. The first rule, before we go into any of the winning odds or betting on the games, is we want to pick a team that is relatively strong. And this is really important, guys. We want to pick a team that has the highest probability of winning. So we're not just going to bet on a team simply because it has the highest winning odds or the highest profit ratio. No, it has to be a winning team. It has to be a team that we think that has the highest chance of winning for us. And of course, it's even better if that team happens to be the country that you support. All right, guys. So strength is number 1. Number 2 is balance of power. And what that means is this. It's quite simple. The team which we're going to bet on and which we want to win must be playing against a relatively weaker team. So for example, if I'm betting on England, which I am, we want England to be against a relatively weaker team. Now, as to which team you think is weaker or stronger, that is a judgment call that you need to make. And I'm going to leave that up to you. But just to give you a clue, you see, if you look at the bookies site, they often will tell you very easily who they think is the stronger team and who is a relatively weaker team. For example, in the game with Tunisia versus England, you can see the bookies clearly expect that England's going to win this game. They've given it a much lower profit ratio of 2-5, whereas Tunisia is 8-1. So obviously the bookies expect that England's going to win this game. They consider England to be a relatively stronger team. And by the way, no disrespect to the Tunisians. I'm sure they're a good team, and I certainly hope them the best of luck. But in any case, as far as the bookies are concerned, their favorite is England. And by the way, if you just scroll up and down this page, you'll see exactly how they are positioning themselves. So for example, in the Germany versus Mexico team, without a question and without a doubt, they consider Germany to be the winner in that game. Okay, the next important thing is we want the opposing team to gain advantage in the first half of the game. Now, that might come as a shock to some of you because you're probably thinking, hang on a second, what? You want the opposing team to score a goal first or to have the advantage? Yes, and the simple reason is because if the opposing team scores a goal first, especially in the first half of the game or early in the game, that changes the winning odds, changes the risk return on the bookie site, and it improves it in our favor. In other words, we now have a better risk return. I'll show you an example of this in a few moments. For example, let's take the Tunisia versus England game. We already know that the bookies' odds for England winning is 2-5. So if Tunisia scores a goal in the first half of the game, especially in the first, let's say in the first half an hour, then what's going to happen is the winning odds for England will change from 2-5 to 2-1. That's actually much better because now I can risk $1 or £1 to make twice that amount, as opposed to risking 5 to make 2. So obviously it doesn't make any sense for us to place bets with 2-5, but it makes perfect sense for us to risk $1 or £1 to make twice that amount. So that's one of the reasons why we want the opposing team, the team that we do not want to win, to gain an advantage in the first half of the game. Now, the next important thing you need is time. You must have time in your favor. And what that simply means is this. There must be enough time left on the game for your team to win and catch up, in other words. And this means that we must have at least ideally 45 minutes or more left on the game. Just as an example, you may remember in the last World Cup when Brazil was playing against Germany, and you may remember, shockingly, Brazil was losing against Germany and the score was becoming terrible. In fact, eventually Germany won with 7-1. Now, here's the thing. Even when the score was 4-1 or 4-0, whatever, we knew already the game was over. There was only about 45 or 30 minutes left of the game, and we knew the game was over. There was no way for Brazil at that point to catch up and win. So guys, you have to make a judgment call, and when the time is running out against your team, you got to make a judgment call and say, no, there's no probability of this team winning right now. Now, the next important point, of course, which comes directly from the previous one, is decide with logic, not emotion, for obvious reasons. It is very dangerous to make an emotional decision, just purely because we want our team to win. We must make the best decision with the information we have and with the amount of time we have left on the game. All right, guys, let's go through a very simple example. So let's imagine England's playing against Team X. And again, this Team X could be whatever you want it to be. But remember, the team we want to support, the team we want to win, has to be a strong team. Relatively stronger team than the other team. The balance of power must be shifted towards our team. For example, if England was playing against Germany, I probably would not place any bets on that game because they're evenly keeled. Although I'm sure some of you might disagree with me on that. You might think that Germany probably is a stronger team than England, although that's a judgment call you'll have to make. But let's just say, whatever this Team X is, it has to be a relatively weaker team than England because we want the balance of power to be shifted towards the winning team, the team we support. Now, as you know, when the game starts at time equals 0, the score is 0-0. And let's say the bookies' odds at the very start of the game for our team, for the team we support, is going to be, let's say, 1-3. In other words, we have to risk £3 or $3 to make $1. Now, as I'm sure you'll agree with me, it doesn't make any logical sense for me to risk $3 to make 1. So what we have to do is play it strategically and wait until the opposing team has an advantage at the start of the game. So let's say, for example, the opposing team, Team X here, gains an advantage and they score a goal. Let's say, for example, they gain a penalty and they score 1 against England. At that point, when the score turns to 1-0 to the opposing team, to Team X, what's going to happen is that the odds, in other words, the winning odds or the risk return will change. And it's going to now become more favorable for us in terms of placing a bet on our team, in this case, England. So the risk return or the bookies odds for England may change to 2-1. So now it's better. So now I can risk $1 to make twice that amount. That makes more logical sense. Now, let's imagine that the opposing team now scores another goal. So now the score turns to 2-0 to the opposing team, to Team X. Now, as long as this happens in the first half of the game, so as long as there's plenty of time left on the game, I would say at least an hour in this kind of situation, then yes, I might add to my bet with a small amount, in this case on my team England. But remember, again, very important, there must be enough time for your team to win, ideally more than 45 minutes. Also, and this is more of an advanced strategy, it's quite important also to hedge your bet if you can. But if you can hedge your bet in case your team ends up losing, that also can be a very good idea, because it's always a good idea to have a plan B as well. So let me show you what I mean. So as a hedging strategy, what I might do is this. If the score is 2-0 to the opposing team, to the Team X here, and I know there's a chance that England might lose, and let's say there isn't much time left, what I might do is, in addition or instead of placing a bet on the team I want to win, I might actually place a small amount on a draw situation. Because a draw situation would actually allow me to make money too. Here's the thing. If England is losing to the opposing team by, let's say, 2-0, England must score 3. Remember, they had to score 3 goals in order to win. But they only had to score 2 goals to make a draw. So which is more likely, a draw or a win? A draw. So in this kind of situation, I might actually consider adding a small amount for a draw, as well as, or instead of betting on the team I want to win. Another situation where you might want to hedge your bet is this. Let's say, for example, during the game, maybe halfway or in the second half, the score is 1-1. Now, let's say I've already placed a bet on England to win. What I might do is, knowing that just in case Team X might score a goal in the next 45 minutes, I might want to start hedging my bet by placing a bet on the opposing team, especially if the odds are not bad. If it's 6-1, for example, here, or 5-1, I only have to risk about a couple of pounds, or maybe £1, to make back my original bet in case I'm completely wrong on my original bet. Alright guys, so I'm hoping this video has helped you, and let me know in the comment section which game you're looking forward to and which team you think is going to win. I, for example, I'm going to be looking forward to watching this game here between Iran and Morocco. And the reason, as you probably know, is because only a few months ago, back in March, I went on a 3-week trip to Iran and had a fantastic time. As you can see here, I am drinking some tea in a fantastic restaurant in Iran. A few of my friends said afterwards, why would you go on your holiday to Iran? And all I got to say is, why not? They have amazing food. The people there are really kind and generous. And of course, your money goes a lot further over there. Your money or dollars goes a lot further in Iran. And of course, I love rooting for the underdog in these games. And I think Iran is an underdog. So I'll be supporting them too. Alright guys, hope this video helps. And if it has, please give it a thumbs up. And also please remember to subscribe to our videos for future updates. Thanks a lot.